Lastly, the very important contribution of Mr. Seetharaman was when the Planning Commission appointed one Raghuram Rajan Committee for financial sector reforms for the future India building. He was the man who instituted a program in Doha and then pleaded for inclusion of Sharia-based Islamic finance in Doha, and that has got great impact on that Raghuram Rajan Committee, and they included interest-free banking to be introduced in the main Indian banking sector. And I thank Seetharaman for the immense contribution that he has impressed on the Planning Commission's this very high-power committee, Raghuram Rajan Committee, who has become now the economic advisor of the Prime Minister of the country. And he is also a very, very sought-after media person, a spokesman of the Gulf and particularly about the Islamic banking. And this shows that he has been talking on CNBC, BBC, CNN, Bloomberg, Fox Business. Name any business media, newspaper or the print media, Mr. Seetharaman is there. I welcome on behalf of you to speak very briefly on the modern financial crisis in the world and Islamic bank, relevance of Islamic banking. Mr. Seetharaman.
Thank you. Your Highness, distinguished guests, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very comprehensive subject, global financial crisis, how Islamic banking can only be the real solution. Conceptually, the world is getting into a new world order. It's globalization, it's deregulation, it's technology and consumerism is redefining the world space. We have seen in the last 1 year how the financial institutions have been going through extraordinary crisis. It is greed, infectious greed, which is resulting in such penultimate distrust in the financial institutions because lack of transparency, lack of governance, lack of disclosure, lack of integrity. That is precisely the reason it is institutions which are old 150 years, 160 years, Lehman Brothers, Merrill Lynch, Bear Stearns, Washington Mutuals, Wachovia, Citigroup, name it. Global financial institutions are going through such crisis purely because lack of ethical and corporate governance. What does it mean in layman language? It is our intention to clearly take care of all the stakeholders when it comes to business management. We need to take care of the shareholders. We need to take care of the customers. We have to take care of the staff. We need to take care of society as well. Conceptually, when it comes to business management, we need to articulate a balanced growth, a balanced dimension to see that gross prosperity, gross happiness is not compromised. When it comes to commercial banking, you have clear signals. You have lending on which you have profitability conferred based on buying money and selling money. You charge interest commercially and making sure you have the gross yield minus net interest clearly signaling a proposition as a profit. When it comes to ethical means, Sharia clearly governing as a real responsible solution. I have spoken world over, conceptually, Islamic banking operates out of heart in addition to head, while commercial banking operates purely out of head. We have to necessarily understand the value system behind the corporate governance ethics which has been compromised. That is why not only global financial institutions, today we are talking about Satyam. One of the success symbol in the software house today is getting punished. Why? Purely because value system is compromised. People have realized today Islamic financial institutions is not mushrooming in only Muslim world. Sharia-based principles is not confined to Muslim alone. It is a human form of business management. That is why today Islamic sukuk is issued in Japan, Canada. Halal products are coming up in Canada. North America is now practicing Islamic finance. If you look at Britain, Islamic Bank of Britain, European Finance House is mushrooming. 300 financial institutions, over 1.6 trillion is the value of assets today. In real science, is practicing Sharia-based principles. Conceptually, critically, if you look at it, that is the better form of finance to alleviate the poverty. Today, we have seen speakers are conceptualizing the Vision 2016 to bring in value systems to have philanthropic as well as gross happiness to the poverty line. Alleviating the poverty has been the core responsibility of humanity. If you have to alleviate poverty, then we all have to have, contribution, which is social responsibility. Collective shared vision, shared responsibility has not been an individual perception. It is the mission of everyone. Then only we can bring in values. That is where we have to necessarily conceptualize India with its vision has a gross happiness. In India as a great civilization, as a compassion society, also a society which has got enduring tolerance, enduring culture, diversity in its unity. We have to bring in value advantage in the form of supplementary values by means of banking. It is not an option. Look at the gross prosperity we are talking about. World over today, Islamic banking is like a fire. It's cutting across, and India cannot be left alone. Conceptually, if we have to necessarily bring in people above the poverty line, we have collective responsibility to bring in as ethical systems into the framework of financial services. And we have to work towards that goal. And precisely the reason our brother was talking about how it can be projected. It has to be represented. There's no question about it. We have to showcase clearly how it's going to add value in real responsible accounting. If you look at the overall value systems, if you look at the Gulf states, where 45% of the world oil, 20-25% of the world gas is emanating, the Sharia funds have been the source for supplementing the financial world. That's why Citigroup was rescued, Merrill Lynch was rescued, Barneys was rescued. Mr. Muhammad Ali has been a telling story how a businessman could be the right representation of India. I'm privileged to be the banker for him. We have to really respect, if you have logical partnership to bring in those sovereign funds to India, we need to bring in Islamic banking into this country. We have collective responsibility to showcase clearly what it means in terms of ethical, why it is a prudent form of human banking, human face of banking, which can add value to lift the poverty. And clearly, that governance needs to come in so that people becomes more human. It is not, business management is not all about making money. How we make money is equally important, and Sharia teaches that value. Sharia cares for mutual responsibility. Sharia cares for sharing and caring. Vision as to development of humanity has been the source of Sharia. Conceptualize yourself, you will understand how interesting it is all about. It is, if you say, I'm a partner in a business, then I'm going to lend money, it's a human form of advocation of clear gross prosperity. If you say, I'm an equity partner as against debt ownership, that's a different value. If you say, I'm going to be transparent and I'm going to disclose how much money I'm going to make out of you so that we can share and care for each other's prosperity, then the vision and the values are completely different for us to recognize. That is a better form of business acumen. Conceptualize yourself. It tells you clearly what are the products. It is not simple murahaba where we have prosperity towards lending and making money out of it. Conceptually, vision, partnership is the source of murahaba. Again, if you look at the product and innovation which comes out of Sharia are human. So the list goes on. Today, in the difficult form of financial crisis, where conceptually we have seen financial world is converting into real economies, in the form of human prospects, we have one form of banking, that is Islamic banking. And it is endless for us to realize how responsible we have to bring into the human systems to lift the poverty into real responsibility accounting for gross prosperity. Then we all have to take efforts, manifest ourselves towards the politicians, manifest ourselves to the correct representation to the Reserve Bank of India to bring in Islamic banking as a source of a real value advantage to the common humanity. And we will do that in the coming days. Thank you for your kind attention, ladies and gentlemen.